We often say we want the truth, but when it finally stands in front of us, raw and unmasked, many of us recoil. There is something terrifying about truth when it cuts across the stories we have built for comfort, when it challenges the versions of ourselves we hold tightly, when it threatens to dismantle the fragile illusions that give us safety. Think about it. People avoid doctors not because they dislike hospitals, but because they fear hearing news they are not ready to face. People remain in unhealthy relationships not because they enjoy suffering, but because the truth of letting go feels heavier than the illusion of staying. People bury themselves in distractions, work, or endless noise, not because they lack curiosity, but because silence might expose truths they've long been avoiding. The human mind has always danced with truth, but it is a dance filled with hesitation, resistance, and fear. And yet, beneath this fear lies the paradox. Truth is not the enemy, it's the doorway to freedom, growth, and healing. The question then becomes, why do we fear the very thing that has the power to set us free? And how do we move past that fear to embrace truth as an ally rather than an adversary? The psychology of fearing truth stretches back into our most ancient instincts. Human beings evolved to survive, not necessarily to seek objective truth. Our ancestors did not always need to know what was real. They needed to know what kept them alive. A rustling in the bushes might have been nothing, but the safest survival instinct was to assume it was danger. This conditioned the brain to favor safety over clarity. In the same way, our modern minds often prefer comforting illusions over truths that could unsettle us. Truth can mean change, and change feels dangerous. The nervous system interprets it as threat, even when it isn't. This is why people can cling to false narratives, ignore evidence, or refuse to confront difficult realities. The brain perceives the disruption as a form of pain, and pain is something it wants to avoid at all costs. But fear of truth is not just biological, it is deeply psychological. From early childhood, many of us are taught that truth can bring punishment or shame. A child admits a mistake and is scolded. A teenager confesses feelings and is ridiculed. Slowly the mind learns. Truth equals rejection. Truth equals pain. We grow into adults who mask our authentic selves, who say we are fine when we are not, who pretend to be confident while silently doubting everything. We fear truth because truth has been associated with being unworthy, unaccepted, or unloved. And so, we protect ourselves with layers of denial, distraction, and deception, not because we are dishonest people, but because somewhere deep inside, we are terrified that the truth of who we are will not be enough. The issues this creates in daily life are enormous. People stay in careers that crush their spirit, because the truth of admitting they want something different feels too destabilizing. People ignore mental or emotional struggles, because the truth of facing them feels overwhelming. People avoid conversations in their relationships, because the truth might mean heartbreak, confrontation, or loss. We delay, deny, and disguise because in our minds, ignorance seems safer than truth. But this safety is an illusion. The cost of avoiding truth is heavier than the truth itself. When we refuse to face what is real, we build prisons of our own making. Anxiety thrives in these prisons. Regret festers, overthinking multiplies. And in the end, we suffer not because of truth, but because of our refusal to meet it. What makes truth so terrifying is its demand. Truth asks us to grow. It asks us to change. It asks us to shed identities that no longer serve us, to admit mistakes, to let go of illusions we've been clutching for years. That is why truth is often called a mirror. It reflects not just what is comfortable, but what is necessary. And mirrors can be difficult to look at when you've been avoiding your own reflection. Yet, mirrors also allow us to adjust, to improve, to realign. When we avoid truth, we stagnate. When we embrace it, even when it hurts, we evolve. To overcome the fear of truth, we must first reframe it. Instead of seeing truth as punishment, we must learn to see it as medicine. Medicine doesn't always taste pleasant. Sometimes it burns, sometimes it stings, but it heals. The same is true of truth. Acknowledging you are unhappy in your career may sting, but it is the first step toward discovering work that fulfills you. Admitting a relationship is unhealthy may hurt, but it opens the path to love that nurtures rather than diminishes. Facing the truth about your habits, your patterns, your thoughts may feel uncomfortable, but it is the only way to break cycles that keep you trapped. Truth is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. Motivation plays a crucial role here. It is not enough to know truth is necessary, we must want it enough to walk through fear. This begins with cultivating trust in ourselves. We fear truth because we don't believe we are strong enough to handle it. But strength is not something given, it is something built through facing what we fear. The more you lean into truth, the more resilience you discover within yourself. Think of every difficult truth you have faced in the past. At the time, it may have felt unbearable, and yet, you are here, you survived, you grew. That is evidence that you are capable of facing the truths that lie ahead. A disturbed relationship with truth also connects deeply with self-doubt. When you do not trust yourself, you avoid truth because you fear your own reaction to it. Will you break down? Will you fail? Will you crumble? But when you build self-trust through small acts of courage, through showing up for yourself each day, you begin to believe. No matter what the truth is, I can face it. That belief is the foundation of freedom. Another powerful key is compassion. Facing truth does not mean attacking yourself. It does not mean shaming yourself for the years you've avoided reality. It means meeting yourself with gentleness. I was not ready before, but I am ready now. Compassion creates the safety needed to allow truth in. Without compassion, truth feels like a blade. With compassion, truth feels like a lantern, illuminating the way forward. Of course, fear will never disappear entirely. Even the most self-aware people feel resistance when confronted with truths that disrupt comfort. But courage is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to move through fear. When you decide to walk toward truth despite trembling, you reclaim your power. Each step weakens the chains of avoidance and strengthens the muscles of resilience. Over time, truth becomes less frightening and more liberating. It becomes a trusted guide rather than a feared enemy. Imagine for a moment a life where you no longer fear truth. Imagine waking each day without the burden of pretending, without the exhaustion of carrying masks, without the anxiety of avoiding what you know deep down. Imagine conversations filled with honesty, choices aligned with authenticity, a heart that feels lighter because it no longer hides. That life is not only possible, it is waiting, but it cannot come from running. It comes only from turning to face the truths you've long feared, breathing through the discomfort, and allowing them to set you free. This journey requires patience. Just as you did not build walls of avoidance overnight, you will not dismantle them overnight either. Start small. Face one truth at a time. Let yourself adjust. Let yourself process. With each truth you embrace, your fear diminishes, your strength grows, and your freedom expands. And with time, the very thing you once feared will become the source of your deepest peace. So here is the paradox. We fear truth because we think it will destroy us, when in reality, it is the very thing that saves us. Truth liberates us from lies, from illusions, from the heaviness of pretending. It gives us clarity, direction, and authenticity. It opens doors that fear keeps locked. It reconnects us with who we truly are, beneath the layers of denial and distraction. The ancient psychology behind why we fear truth explains our hesitation, but modern wisdom reminds us we are no longer bound to those instincts. We can choose differently. We can choose courage over avoidance, clarity over illusion, growth over stagnation. And so, let us end with this. The truth is not your enemy. It is not the shadow you must avoid, nor the storm you must run from. It is the teacher you have resisted, the mirror you have ignored, the medicine you have delayed. But it has been waiting patiently for you, knowing that one day you would be ready, and that day is now. Do not fear truth. Fear the cost of avoiding it. Fear the life unlived, the dreams abandoned, the years wasted in illusions. Fear the silence that comes from not speaking your heart. But never fear truth itself, because truth, no matter how heavy at first, always lightens your soul. When you embrace it, you step into alignment with yourself, with your values, with your life's deeper purpose. You become whole, no longer split between who you are and who you pretend to be. And in that wholeness there is a peace that no illusion can ever provide. The truth is not here to hurt you, it is here to set you free. And when you walk with it, you will discover the freedom, the clarity, and the courage that were waiting within you all along. The truth then is not something you must hunt for in far-off places, nor something locked away only for the fearless. It has always lived inside you, quietly waiting for the moment you would stop running from it. Every time you silenced your instincts, every time you swallowed your feelings, every time you told yourself I'm fine while carrying a weight in your chest, the truth remained steady, like a quiet heartbeat underneath the noise. It did not vanish just because you turned away. It has been whispering, reminding you of who you are, of what you want, of the life you are capable of creating if only you stop pretending. And yes, truth may frighten you, because it asks you to shed the comfort of illusions, to let go of masks you have worn for years, to step into the vulnerability of being seen as you really are. But that vulnerability is not weakness, it is the beginning of real strength. For only when you dare to live aligned with what is real can you experience the kind of freedom that no external validation, no temporary escape, and no half-lived life can ever provide. You do not need to fear truth, you need only to fear what will happen if you continue to bury it. A life built on denial may feel safe for a time, but it is a fragile safety, one that crumbles under the weight of reality. A life built on truth may feel terrifying at first, but it is the only life strong enough to withstand the storms. To walk in truth is to walk in clarity, in wholeness, in freedom. And this path is not reserved for the extraordinary, it is meant for you. The same courage that carried your ancestors through their fears lives in you now. The same resilience that brought you through every challenge so far will carry you through the truths you are meant to face. You already have what it takes to stand before truth and not only endure it, but embrace it. So let today mark the moment you choose differently. No more running, no more hiding, no more pretending. Let today be the day you honor the whisper within you that says, "This is who I am. This is what I feel. This is what I choose." When you align your life with that whisper, you step into a power greater than fear, greater than doubt, greater than illusion. And in that moment, you will realize the truth was never here to shatter you, it was always here to make you whole. So breathe deeply, stand tall, and step forward into the brilliance of your own honesty. For the truth does not diminish you, it reveals you. And when you finally allow yourself to live in that light, you will discover that the freedom you once feared was the freedom you were searching for all along.